Hey, what's up, folks? It's the 30th of December 2024, and whilst people are preparing to go out and chill, we're here having a live stream. Hi, Derek. I see you in the chat. Before I start, I'm just gonna go check and make sure that the stream is working correctly, and then we'll start. There we are. So, while we're here today, we have a lot of things planned for the next year, and this is just me trying to start that right now. So let's see, where am I? My videos. Let me know if my audio is okay. I have adjusted my mic. I bought a pop filter, and for some reason this thing wouldn't start, so I have to lay it on the mic. So it's not ideal, but yeah. So let's see whether this is live and good. I'm checking out the feed, and for some reason I can't see it. I don't know if there's something wrong. Thanks, David. Just checking to make sure. Okay. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Well, it's a new government, it's a new year. There's a lot of things that we want to do as a community, especially the DevCongress community. And for a long time, one of the things that I've wanted to do or work on as a group has been our DevCongress, has been a jobs board for DevCongress. And in the last few months, I've been thinking about it, and considering converting it into more of a directory rather than just a jobs board, because a jobs board by itself doesn't have too much value, and I think that making it as a directory would give more value to the community. So my goal is for the next year for us to organize more deeply. Okay, hold on, I have a problem. Give me a second, let me see. Are we okay? Okay, false alarm. OBS just gave me a false alarm. Sorry about that. Let's go back. So, I've been thinking of making the helping organize DevCongress a bit more, so that we have the force of an organization behind us. We cannot sit back always and ask for things to be done for us if we do not go present proposals. And how do we present these proposals in a way that has some backing behind it? And the only way to do that is to come together as a community and create an organization where we can advocate for ourselves. So that's what I am planning to make this. And today we're going to be working on the beginnings of our platform. I call it a jobs board, but it's a holistic platform which is going to manage all of us. And I'm building it in Rails and using my Plutonium framework that many of you have seen. Why do I keep getting this warning from OBS? Let me see what it says. So let's give it a few minutes and then just resume our stream. Ah, crap. Okay. So, a few months ago, I reached out to someone in the community and commissioned him to set up a website. And then that website was designed redesign of the DevCongress website. We're going to be using that as our foundation. So in the beginning, we're going to start off with Rails, set up a CMS for it, and then a front end. So let's switch to stream mode now. All right. So let's first of all take a look at what Nathan did. So there we go. We had, what's his name again? Bill, I forget. He designed it, and then I put it into the community to be created. So Nathan created a website. So let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. So DevCongress main comes here. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. Replace. Okay. Let me open this up and then let's take a look at it. So this is what the home page looks like. Let's take a look at the pages. Wait, how many pages were made? We have assets. Oh, dang. Okay, so only one page was created, which is a bit annoying. Give me a second. Let me find the rest of it. Bring this down here, and then let's see. Okay, that's a bit annoying. So what we're going to do instead is, instead of starting to transform this, what we're going to do is we're going to just set up the application. So let's do that. Item Ghosty is all the hype right now, but I haven't set it up. Well, let's open it and see what it does. Ghosty for the win. So Ghosty comes up here. And let's go to Ghosty. I have documents. Allow that. What we're going to do is we're going to make a new directory and we're going to call it DevCongress. And then cd into that. Okay, let me zoom that a little bit more so that it's more visible. All right, so here we're going to create a new Plutonium app. And for that, we're going to look at the Plutonium tutorials. So getting started, as part of the tutorial, we have this command here. And we're going to change this from Plutonium to Plutonate. So Plutonate is a slightly different configuration that sets up a bit more. Sorry. So let's say DevCongress jobs. Do I want to call it DevCongress jobs? So let's just call it DevCongress. Let's just call it DevCongress. So those new DevCongress, PopShaft, ESBuild, Tailwind, and we use a Plutonate. All right. See how that goes. It's gonna take a few seconds, and then we'll be in. All right. So Plutonium, as I've spoken about, is the framework I've been working on. It's a rad kit. When we start using aspects of Plutonium, you would understand why it's so valuable. But it allows us to scaffold things like admin panels, authentication stuff. It already has authorization baked in, a lot of component structures. It does a lot for you. It takes some learning, and you need to know Rails to learn it. But I think that once you master it, you can do quite a lot of things quickly. All right. So at this point, this is running the base template. So there's a base Plutonium template which would set up a few things. Yeah, we're up, Chima. We're up. Which will set up a few things, and then it's going to apply the Plutonium template, and then it's going to apply the Plutonate template. So if we look at this template, let's open our VS Code and then bring that here. All right. All right, hope that's visible enough. I don't want to have Docker installed. I don't need that. All right, so basically what this does is it installs Plutonium, and then it runs a Plutonium generator to install it for you. So this is just done for you automatically. Then why is this taking so long? Kind of annoying. All right, never mind. Let's run this. We're gonna redo that. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but let's reinstall that. And Rails new DevCongress Prof Shop Plutonium. Yeah, let's run that again. So in the meantime, you can tell me things that you want to see as part of this directory that we're building, things that you would like us to do in the community coming 2025. I know that we already have a hackathon coming up, and that hackathon is coming up somewhere February. We are yet to confirm the location and then confirm the date, but that's one of the things that we're doing. So, yep, this is installed as well. Here, let's see. We already installed the base. All right, it's adding more dependencies that we need. Someone reached out to me on Twitter today. I was like, don't add any dependencies for as long as possible. And then I looked at it and I was like, dude, we're starting out with a bunch of dependencies, like straight out. So just out of the box, look how many dependencies I'm installing. I'm not exactly sure if it's my internet today that's slow, but we have it. So cd DevCongress, and then we have our Rails app. We can open that in VS Code. So let's open that here. Now let's take a look at this project. Let's zoom in a bit so it's a bit more visible for y'all. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at GetCraft. We have the initial commit that is after Rails is fully installed, everything that Rails has to do for you is installed. Then this adds Plutonium for you, sets it up. It adds a few packages that I like .env. It adds Annotate. Annotate would take what your schema looks like and apply it on your models so that you can view what your models look like. It's like documentation. Then it adds standard RB for formatting, letter opener for local email testing. And then here we integrate all the assets. So we have our own configuration for Tailwind that we can customize, but it does that integration with Plutonium. Then here we run, this is a tool from Stephen Mahaim, Fractaled Mind, and he created these set of generators called Enlightenment that would set up your project to work very well with SQLite. So this is an SQLite project. Then we added Solid Q, which is a background processing that uses the database, and then Solid Cache and Solid Cable. So Solid Cache is like, instead of using Redis, we're using SQLite for caching. We're not going to use it much, but sure. And then Solid Cable is for us to have Action Cable. Action Cable is web sockets, but instead of using Redis, it uses the database as the backing, and then it adds Solid Errors. So Solid Errors is this admin. It's like a local admin that you can use to see your errors. Like think Sentry, but just local for you. All right. So with this, we can run a few things. Bundle is already run. If we run bin dev, that should start our project. So bin dev, what did we break? Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's do something else. Instead of bin dev, let's do Rails S. Rails S helps me determine what's broken. Okay, so it's something else that's broken, and it has nothing to actually do with yeah, so Rails is fine, we're in, and our application is up. So let's go ahead and try bindev again, see if we can figure out what broke. If not, we will try to run. Okay, so let me see where the error was. Here. Okay, so npm run build. Let me see what package. Package JSON has this. Let's see. npm run build CSS. There we go. We have that error. No. Assets. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a local. I pushed a release of Plutonium just before this, so it's my fault. But let me just get Plutonium and install API. Reopen this. Plutonium, where are you? Plutonium core. Package.json, and then we're going to install API core. See if that works. No, that does not work. All right, no problem. In order to get this to work, I'm just gonna get rid of with config. Let's get rid of some things in the Plutonium merge, and let's see. Plutonium plugins, whatever merge. All right, I'll try to resolve this later, but in the meantime, let's just get something up. So what we are going to do is we're going to be using a tool called Cypress. And Cypress it allows you to build like static sites as part of your Rails application. So Cypress would, instead of having like just running normal pages, you do it like a static site generator. You can export that static site if you want, but we're going to be building it as part of our app. So bundle add Cypress, and this is going to break more things because of because of the Tailwind config. So let's run this. Cypress install. Where are we? Wrong app. Wrong application. There we go. Oh man. I'm going to use a workaround for this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say Plutonium. We're going to go into our gem file, look for Plutonium, and then we're going to use the local version whilst I fix the issue. So bundle that, then yeah, that should be fine. So all right, so Cypress should be installed now. Cypress adds these to our routes, Cypress pages and Cypress route, and we have our index, then our path, our page models, page helpers, anything that we need to add into our helpers here. Packages on, here we go. All right. So we're gonna turn dev, and I'm gonna run npm run dev here. So we're gonna be using the dev assets that are built in Plutonium whilst we develop. So instead of using the assets here, we'll try to figure out why it broke. How easy would it be to switch from SQLite to Postgres? Switching databases is kind of really hard, right? Yeah, sure. Switching databases is kind of really hard. And if you're on SQLite and you want to switch to Postgres, because you are on like a single machine, you just have to have some downtime, copy the data over, and then switch your connections. Using Active Record, it shouldn't be as difficult if you don't write custom queries, a lot of custom queries, because the Active Record ORM allows you to switch easily. But outside of that, it's not really a recommended thing to switch databases, so you need to be sure what kind of database you want to use. But switching from SQLite to other databases is actually quite easier than switching from, let's say, Postgres to MySQL or the other way around. Yeah, because it's like moving with your application from having the files locally and then having switching it to copying the files over to a centralized server. Sure, gamer moves. Let me do that for you. Let me unlock that. Let's make that a bit smaller. How does that look? Game moves to. All right. So once we have Cypress, let's see, Rails S. Let's go back to our app, refresh that, and we have a home page in Cypress. So we can go in and modify this if we want. We can come here and then just say, replace this with, it's nice. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna do a lot of things here because I noticed at the beginning that we don't have all the assets that we need for the home page. So I'm going to just commit this and say add Cypress. Let's get this gem file thing out. Give me a second. Let me do something. I don't want to commit. All right, so gem file. There we go. Add Cypress. Back to gem file, undo that bundle, and we should be able to have that. Okay, so what is the first thing that we need to add? We need to add authentication. So as part of that, we're going to do this is going to be annoying. Rails generate Plutonium row. And then we're going to do an install, and this is going to install row for us. Plutonium is bring your own authentication, but in this case we are going to be using the authentication that comes as part of row. It's really fully featured, and you can configure this how you want. So the installation, we notice that I'm going to mark this as drop later. That's fine. It adds bcrypt, SQLite, ActiveWrite, record connection, tilt, row.rails, sets up a controller, sets up an app, and this is the base app config where you can configure your like when you create accounts and stuff like that. So row uses is built on a framework called Roda, which is a separate Ruby framework. I'm sorry for doing a lot of things, but the goal is not to go too deep. But here you can configure what, like how it should present, like things like sending emails, etc. And yeah, it also adds these default configs so that it works for you. But yeah, we've added row.auth in here, and then I'm just gonna say install row.auth. and then we're going to create our first account. So it's a user account. We're going to say Plutonium Rodot account, and then we're going to go with user, and yeah, that should be it. So as part of creating the user, the defaults, let's even take a look at what the defaults for accounts are. These are all the features that are available. Account expiration, sessions, audit logging, all of that. You have recovery codes, remember, reset password, notify, SMS account, all of this stuff, right? But here we are just gonna go with the defaults, which is case insensitive login, change password, notifications, create account, internal request, login, logouts, remember, reset password, notifications, verify account with a grace period, and then verify account, verify login change. So you can change logins, but you need to verify them. All right, so let's run our migrations, and then let's see what this looks like. All right, so once we come here, we can come to users, / create account, and then once we come in here, we can create our first account. So let's go with stefan@gmail.com. It's an invalid email, so you can do whatever you want. Hit that enter, and automatically letter opener opens this email, right, with the message. So instead of us trying to set up something to test, this is just a tool called a gem called letter opener, opens it up for you. So once I'm here, I'm verified, I'm back home. So I'm in, but I have an isolated account. I can't really do anything with it. So we need to come back and do some configuration. So here, let's go to Rodot user Rodot, and there's a few things that we're gonna do. So in order to log in the prefixes users, which you saw, and what I want to change is, once you create an account, where should it redirect to? So here we want to create a dashboard, right? So we're gonna say dashboard. For now, no, let's leave this. Let's just say add Rodot user account. Okay, so we want to be able to redirect you to like our dashboard. So first of all, the route we want is dashboard. So let's just put this here. Dashboard logger redirect would be we want it to bring you home. Login redirect, that's fine. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's create a new dashboard. Plutonium gives you what we call portals, and portals are a way to expose parts of your application to the public. So in order to expose our application to the public, we'll create a portal, and the portal is going to be called dashboard. So Rails, generate Plutonium package, PKG, and then the portal is going to be dashboard, right? So once we hit dashboard, it automatically detects that we have a Rodot user setup, and it's asking if we want to authenticate that dashboard with user. And for this, I'm going to say yes. So here, it creates a bunch of files for us. The Rodot engine, sorry, the package engine, and here it mounts the routes that we need. It mounts our dashboard engine at /dashboard. And that's what we have. It has a sidebar that we can modify, a header that we can modify. Yeah. Then if we go back into our routes, we'll notice that here it says that authenticate with the Rodot Rails user before you allow dashboard to be mounted. So if they are not authenticated, those routes are not even available. Yeah. So these are just a bunch of files that you have. Cool. Let's see what this looks like. So Rails, nope, Plutonium Rails S, refresh that, and now let's come to dashboard. We're already logged in, so it knows who I am. But if I were to log out and then come back and say dashboard, then it brings me here and asks me to log in. So stefan@gmail.com and here. Okay. So here we don't have any resources yet, but we have our dashboard. It's visible. We have our header. It has a bunch of stuff here that we can get rid of if we don't want. It has this that we can deal with, but the sign out works and nothing else here works. So these are just components that you can reuse in your application. Okay. So sorry about that. Okay. So add the dashboard portal. Sorry about it. Cool. So what's the first thing we want to add here? As a user looking at the dashboard, I want everything that I'm looking at to be scoped to me. So there is something that we can do here, which will be dashboard engine, and then after initialize, we're going to say scope to entity, and then we're going to specify the entity that we want. Yeah. So whenever you ask that something should be scoped to another thing, there needs to be an association between it. So a user and a user don't really have an association, but what we are going to do is we're going to specify the strategy, and we are going to say current user. So there's a method available that's called current user, and by default it picks from the path. But if we say current user, it knows that you're dealing with the current user, so it doesn't try to get an association. It just picks the current user and uses that. Now, how does this work? This just means that whenever you have any resource, so let me show you an example. We're going to remove this, and then we're going to create a new resource just for demonstration. So Plutonium resource scaffold, and then yeah, this is fine. Actually, let me recreate that. Then we're going to have user, and we're going to say belongs to, and then we're going to get rid of this belongs to because this is not valid. Okay. We generate into the main app, and then we run our migrations. Then I'll talk about what this is in a minute, but for now, let me just show you what this does. I'm going to connect that. Okay. So now once we come into our resources, we've connected a resource called form submissions. If I were to, gosh. Oh man, it's always going to be something weird, huh? We're broke. That's a lot of logs. Yeah, the reason that the logs are spewing so much is you have a lot of things running in the process. So you have solid queue running, which also produces quite a bit of logs. But let's see what I broke. Should have known this wouldn't go well. That's all right. So why does it not have this route? So let's see. Resource URL 4. Why would this break? Why would this break? Belongs to. Oh, I see. Okay. So that's interesting. All right. So what's happening is, as part of the association inputs that's automatically generated, it creates a new link to the association. So if it's a user, it tries to create a new link. But what's happening is we have an association to a user and it doesn't exist. So I need to connect the user for this to work. But ideally, we are not going to be connecting the user. So we connect the user to the dashboard and then we refresh that. Okay. So again, that's a new feature I added. So what was happening was this button that you see here, this plus button, it generates for you to be able to create. So you can create a new user yourself and then come back if you want, right? So you can either select a user from this or you can create. And because user was not connected, it could not find a route. So I need to work around the fact that if you've not connected a resource, it should not treat it as a resource. So, or at least intelligently report that error. So we're going to create one form submission with a resource. This is user one, some data, some state. I don't really care what this is. All right. So we created this. We go into our form submissions. We see our user. We know the reference, all of that, right? Then this is user again, but this time we want to use a different user. So user. And unverified, and this is automatically detected from the model. So if you go to user, let me show you. If you go to user, it has this enum that says the status is unverified, verified, close, and Plutonium automatically knows that these are the values, right? So it knows what to show for you. So unverified, create user. Now I can select user 2. So interesting thing, notice this is not SPA, but after you create, it brings you back. And this is what I'm trying to showcase with Plutonium. You don't need to have an SPA to have these beautiful interactions. The web as it is has ways for you to redirect, let people feel like you're doing things. Of course, these things can break, but that was the same thing. I went, created a user, came back to the form, and I did that. It's the same way as creating it in a modal somewhere, right? And then you go. So user 2, more data, more state. All right. So if we come into form submissions, we see these two: user 1, user 2. We obviously have our users here. So let's go back to dashboard engine. There we go. And let's scope it again. Now, once we scope and we refresh, the user field goes out. And automatically, we only see what belongs to us. If you look at a query that was generated, let me just show you that. It says select from form submissions where form submission user ID is. Plutonium is intelligent enough to know that you have this form submission, and then you have it belongs to this user, and because you're viewing as a current user, it doesn't show that. So anytime I want to create a form submission now, it doesn't allow me to select a user. I can enter ref2, and automatically that form submission will be created and associated with me. So if I did this and brought it back, what, did I not save that? Okay. It's one of those things. I've added something and I'm removing it. Sometimes it won't refresh. So once we're back, we see that the second one, ref2, was associated with my user as well. So this is how we get multi-tenancy automatically in Plutonium. Yeah. Yes. So we're going to be scoping our entities to Plutonium, but let's roll back and get rid of this stuff for now, and then create our actual model structure. So this is not the first time we've created DevCongress jobs. It's something we've done before. We have a bunch. Here we go. We have the jobs board that we were working on, what, 4 years ago, maybe? And we got far. We abandoned it for a while. So here we are again. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to be going back and reusing a lot of the work that we did before. So we already have our user. For now, we're not going to bother too much. Back then, we used to use device. So interesting. What is a job? We have all of this job information that we can move. But this is all part of job posting. And for now, I don't want to really focus too much on job posting. What I want to do is focus on a user profile. So for today, I want to make sure that after a user is signed up, we will take their profile information. So let's go to Claude and ask it a few questions. All right. Yeah, we have username, password, we have this, and we have display name, or how you want to be referenced, referred to. Obviously, I don't know if you want a profile picture, brief bio about me, this. Okay, so let's stop and see what we want. We want to take a profile. What are the things we care about? The first thing I want to take is time zone. I want you to provide your time zone to me. It allows us to do things later on. So time zone is one. I want your full name. I want your display name. We are not taking date of birth for now. So full name, time zone. There was something else. I think country, we'll call it primary country, would be good. But for now, let's do these. All right. So as previously demonstrated, Plutonium works around the concept of resources, and each thing that we create is a resource. Display name. So sometimes you have the person's full name. So my full name could be Michael Asamoah, but how do I want to be referred to? Michael or Mike, or generally preferred name or display name. This, I would encourage you to look at this. About names. I forgot what they are. Falsehoods programmers believe about names. So you should look up this article. Falsehood programmers believe about names. We have the same thing. Falsehood programmers believe about phone numbers, stuff like that, emails, all of this stuff. So people have exactly one canonical name. That's not true. People have one full name. There's a lot of ways that names are not what you think. People don't have a full name, like multiple names, all of that. So it's just easier to collect a name as one, and then you ask them to provide you some name in a format that you want to be able to refer to them, especially in emails, how they want it shown, etc. Right? So yeah, these are all things that you need to be cautious about when you're designing systems like this. So full name, display name, time zone. And we're going to keep it simple. So here we're going to say Rails generate Plutonium, and then resource, and then scaffold. So a Plutonium resource scaffold, and then we're going to name it. So what name do we want to give it? We want to call it user profile, right? And the first thing is it has a user which it belongs to. Ooh, too much. So it has a user which it belongs to. Then it has a full name which would be required. So we're going to call the string, and we're going to say display name, and then string as well. Then we're going to say time zone. For now, let me figure out. So Rails list time zones. Active support here. Let me see. So Rails has a console that you can just go in and then start, like, it's like a REPL and work on. So here we have Hawaii. Let me see these time zones that we want. Why are the UTC offsets now? Ooh, 43. Huh. Yes, I meant last. Okay, so let's see what this object looks like. This only works if you've got Rails installed, and it's pretty heavyweight for just getting a list of time zones. Another zone is this mapping key, so let's see this one. Okay, so these are the keys. If you want a Ruby only solution, let's see. Okay, these look more like what we want. America, this. How many are they? 418 time zones. Yeesh, yeesh, yeesh. Okay. So that's why Rails and TZ is better you want to load, or Rails dependencies, the TZ, or only list some selected time zones. Yeah, I know that this is different. I know that there's a difference between the Rails time zone and then the TZ info. So it's a wraparound TZ info that provides a subset of time zones and displays them with friendlier names. 146 day displays lazily loads. US will to support Eastern time. This might actually be easier to use. Okay, so let's go with this guy and see what this guy has. So zone name, and then what do we have? Your zones. Let me see if we have UTC. There we go, UTC. Okay, so we're just gonna use this then. See what this looks like. Let me ask Claude. Oh, there it is. GMT minus. Okay, so how did I get that? Oh, offset. All right, so I need to format that time to get an offset. So this is actually what I'm looking for. These ones. So this is good. All right. So we have our time zone, and our time zone would be a string. What did I just do? How do I store it in a DB? String. All right, so time zone will be a string, and that should get us going. So for now, we're gonna do this. user profile belongs to. We're gonna end the stream a little bit early today, so I prepared some stuff, but our main app allows us to have it. So let's go modify this a little bit. So when we create a resource, it creates a controller for us. It creates a definition, which is where we can customize it. It creates the model, obviously, and it creates a policy. So let's look at a policy first. Policy is quite simple. It just dictates what you can create, what you can read, and these break down into create, read, update, delete. Hey, Angela, how are you? These break down into create, read, update, delete. It also allows you to list the attributes that are available for create, read, index, update, delete, all of that. You can break that down, but it condenses that into create and read because most people just edit those two things first. So, then the profile, which we made already. So these are default validations because everything that we asked for would be required. Then it has the display name. It has the time zone. Here. So let's migrate this. And after our migration, we'll notice that the annotate gem that I mentioned at the beginning would add these things to us. So now we can just take a look at this and say, okay, this is what the database looks like. All right. So we have our user profile belongs to user. For user, what we're going to do is we're going to define the association inverse has many. And then we're going to say user profiles, right? So now whenever I have a user, I can profile to try and get a user profile if it exists. Ooh. No, has one. That's me, has one. All right. So So what's happening here is we want it to be a has1. So it belongs to has1. So what we're going to do is come and modify our migration. And this migration is what specifies, that tells Rails how to create our database table. So we're saying create this here belongs to user. It cannot be null. Foreign key true. T.index. I'm gonna create it separately. So user ID, and then I'm gonna say unique true. So we're creating a unique index. Why did that fail? All right. So user ID, and then we're gonna call it name, and then we're gonna say, you know what? Let me try this. Foreign key true, index unique true. Let me see if that works. Let me see exactly what it generates because it matters. So here it says that we have a user, we have an index on user and unique true. Okay, so let's do this. Rails DB rollback primary. Let's go back and check what happens without this. What's the difference? So what's the difference here? It just creates an index and it doesn't make it unique. So that's good. We can go ahead and use that to add a unique index. Go back and reapply. Hi Angela, since you just joined us, what we've been looking at is setting up a basic Rails app, adding Plutonium to it, and now we are trying to add some resources. Today we are just going to keep it simple, work on the profile, and then tomorrow I'll do some more. We had a few challenges technically, last minute code changes on my end, so we'll fix that. All right. So here looks good. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect it. Rails Plutonium Resource Connect. And we're going to select the resource from the main app. And we're going to say user profile. And we're going to say that connected to the dashboard portal. All right. For now, it's not really ideal in the sense that when we go here, we're going to list it as it's going to be viewed in a list form, but that's not what we want, right? So here, once we come into user profiles, it gives us we think that we can, when it gets to user profiles, we feel like we can actually just create them and manage them, but that's not how this is going to work. So let's think of this. If a user comes into the app and they have not created a user profile, we want to redirect them to the user profile page, right? So right now, this is where our user profile page is. We can add our full name, display name, and time zone. For the time zone, we need to fix this and then make sure that this uses the list of time zones that we had. So let's go back to user profile. And then our time zone, we're going to say it validates inclusion. And we want it to be included in, and we already checked that stuff, so it was there. So we want something fast, and keys should get us there. So inclusion in this. All right, let's refresh. Oops. Let me run this in the background, and let's get this here. So now that we have specified the inclusion, we are going to get this by default, but this is not really what we want. So instead of that, we're going to come to user profile definition, and over here we're going to say that input time zone as we're not gonna specify as, but what we're going to do is we're going to give choice. We're going to provide choices, and if we provide an empty array, it's just going to be empty. So here we're going to use what we got from Claude, and let me copy that here. .map do. I'm going to inline this so that I can have it on one line, and have that. All right, so offset is no longer necessary, and here I believe this should do it. Let me see. It takes the first, and then yes, so this should do it. I'm gonna inline this. Not ideal, but for now it would do. So yeah, and we have our list of time zones, and let me see, 12, 9, 8, 0, Lisbon. I love it. I love it. So time zone, my display name. Now with the display name, yeah, so that's one of the things with Ruby. Everything you do is going to be returned automatically. So for the display name, we are going to do a few things here. Input full name. And then we're going to provide a hint. And then we're going to say, this is your legal / full name. Blah, blah, blah. It's, wait. Let me add description and see something. I think descriptions go with, yeah. Hey, where's my hint? What is this? Full name, full name, full name, full name. My demo gods are not my friends today at all. This should be a hint, right? Oh, no. Let me try something. Field. Ha. Okay. Still need to fix a few things there, but yeah, this should do it. All right, so we just want the hint, and for now we're gonna say hint this is not displayed to the public. It's kept private, and then display name, how you like to be addressed is public, right? All right, so we get 2 hints, and there we go. All right, so if I do not have a profile yet, and let's say I sign out and I log in, I want to be forced to create my profile, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into, let me just add this and see, add user profile, resource, and then I'm going to go into packages where my dashboard portal is, and I'm going to come in here to controllers, and for portals we keep the shared code inside of the consent, so these are included in all your controllers. So Plutonium here comes in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a before action. So once this is included, add consents above, so I'm going to say included do. And in Rails we have this thing called filters, or like before actions. So let me for action, and so you can just set something as a before action on anything. And what we're going to do is before action, we're going to call ensure has created profile. A bit long, but that's all right. Then we're going to define our ensure has profile. Profile complete. And we're just going to run a debugger for now. Go back here, refresh that, and our debugger should have been triggered, right? So we have access to the current user, and we can say current user dot user profile. And if the current user doesn't have a user profile, we're going to redirect them. So let me just make sure that what I'm going to do is right. And before action, too much. Okay, so I think that we can just do that. All right, so redirect to, and for now I'm just going to say I'm going to use a different way of getting the route. So sidebar resource URL 4, resource URL 4, and then resource URL 4 is an internal Plutonium method, and it allows you to create routes, because the route is slightly different from Rails. So it allows you to create routes and takes into consideration things like the current engine you're in, whether you are scoping, all of that stuff. So it does all of that for you. So resource URL 4, we're going to say user profile, and the action we want is new. But what's critical here is we need to specify the parent, and the parent here would be the current user. So here, unless current user profile. So if the user does not have a user profile, we're going to do this redirect. But notice something here. We're doing this ensure profile completed regardless of which controller you're in. So for now, all I'm just going to do is I'm going to add something here, and I'm going to say skip before action. And this is the user profiles controller. I'm going to say skip before action. And over here, I'm going to say ensure profile completed. So the idea is that you're going to be redirected to the profile, but once you're on the profile page, it's not going to do that check. So let's see if that worked. Still have, okay, let's end this a bit. Let's see how that goes. Okay, refresh, and automatically it redirects us here. Do we actually care about the user ID here? No, we don't care about the parent. We don't actually care about the parent because we are scoped to the current user regardless. So user ID is fine. Let's go back to user profiles. So anywhere on the user profiles page works, and we can do anything. But once we go somewhere else, we go to the dashboard, we come back here. We go here, we come back here. If we sign out, come back in. Dashboard, Stefan at Gmail. We come back, we're brought to our user profile page. Now, this user profile page that we're on, maybe we just don't want to add this stuff or add these headers, right? So let's modify that a bit. Let's go to our user profile definition. Yes. Let's go to our user profile definition. We want this. So the user profile, we have a definition for the user profile in our core application. If you come inside here, there's a core profile definition. This is generic. But what we want to do is we want to override that definition specifically for the dashboard portal. So here, I'm going to bring that here and copy Ruby reference. I'm going to include this, and for now I'm going to mark this as dashboard user profile inheriting user profile. And yeah, so once we come here, we can do this. We can also change things here for the dashboard that would only be displayed here. And if we went to another profile, before filters not private. Oh, you mean the actual before filter? Well, that's a good idea. There's no route to it, but it's always a good idea to ensure that whatever you are not using is privated. Okay. So we can do localized updates to it here. And for this, we don't need these definitions. So if I refresh this, it's still going to maintain the original definitions because of the inheritance. And that's one of the places where inheritance is really powerful. So in Plutonium, you have your main app, and then other apps inherit from it. So you can have shared code, and then you can do specific things for different people. So if you have a portal for admins can have their own UI and all of that. And if you have a portal for users, they can have their own UI and look and feel, right? And it doesn't change anything. That's one of the beauties of Plutonium. So here, as part of this, I think the way we want to do this is we want to edit the, I believe is the new page. I don't know if it's not. It would break up. It will break on me. So, all right, let's try that and see. Yes. So the new page is what we want to modify. For this, I'm gonna go to Plutonium and then go to new page. So each page that you have in the definition specifies the page. For this, I could just come into the views and edit it myself. I don't want to do that. I could come here and then I could actually no, I could call this user profiles. And then for the new, I can't type. So I can just come here, override the new page myself, do something completely custom if I wanted. But that's not what we want, because we just want to tweak it a little bit, right? So I'm not doing that. But again, it's all Rails, and Rails, even in Rails, the views are inherited. So you can do the same thing that we just did. So in this case, we're saying that new page inherits new page. So you're going to override the new page in there. You're opening it itself. And then as part of the new page, each of these, you have the base. So let's see what this is. This is the breadcrumbs. So this is breadcrumbs. We can get rid of that by using render header. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to neuter render header. So header no longer does anything. And now we have a single page that does user profile. So if I wanted to change this form to be a custom one, I could. But for now, let's go back, come back in. But for now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to create this at gmail.com. Once I come in, it brings me here to create my account. Hello world. This is, oh, Stefan. Today I'm going to give you my full name. The Dumb Tech Ang. That's my new name. And as part of the time zones, we didn't even test if the time zones thing works. So I'm going to use UTC. Let's see if that works. Please work. What did I break? What did I break? What did I break? All right. So user profile created. We're in. If I come back to dashboard now, it shows me. And if I view user profiles here. So what if I don't want to view my user profile there? And let's say I only want to be able to reach it from here, my profile. So if I come to my profile, I want to be able to just come and see it here. So let's do something fun here. User profile. All right. So sidebar. And here we are going to not do these resources anymore. This is out of the box, but for now we're not going to show any resources. So inbox, and then we're going to have this. All right. So we're going to take this, and we're going to go back to our resource header. And profile, we're going to change this. And now this is not new. Ooh, okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say current user.user profile. And this is only going to be added if user profile exists. Otherwise, it's going to break, right? So if we have a user profile, we open this and, ooh, what did I break? Oh, dashboard portal app, header with action. Oh, wrong. Yeah, serves me right. Okay, so this is the actual one. Let's get rid of these sections, pro version. We only care about this for now. And we're gonna specify that here, and we're gonna just bring this here. Okay. Yeah. Now let's get rid of this action as well. That was this action. We don't need that. So now here we have Stefan. We have my profile. And then we have sign out. So just 3 buttons. Should a time zone be chosen or automatically set based on your current location? We could try to do that, Derek, but right now it's a nicety that I don't mind. But what I intend doing is I want to create an actual. What do they call that thing? I want to create an actual time zone component that would do those things for you. So based on JavaScript, we'll pick that. But for now, you notice that we are just using pure Plutonium. We haven't even really gone outside of Plutonium to do anything custom. So one thing about user profiles is all right. So we have a user profile policy. One thing about it is we don't want to be able to delete it when you're in the user dashboard. So we need to come back into the dashboard again, and then go back into our policies and then do the same thing we did, right? So dashboard, user profile policy. Then just to make sure that if we have any shared logic, we can keep it, we would include this. It's not required, but we keep that there. So these can sort of be commented out for now. And what do we have? Dashboard. So that field, dashboard portal. Yeah. And that should work now. So let's make it impossible to destroy. We don't want to allow people to destroy their profile. So here, user profile here as well. And then we're going to go into the definition again. And we're going to do the same thing for show page. So the show page is also not going to have that. And maybe the header will just change it to profile, but let me see what it says. Actually, yeah, I think that I'm going to change that. So let's see. Yeah, so we're going to remove the breadcrumbs instead. Inside here we have render breadcrumbs. So for this, we're just going to remove the breadcrumbs, and then we're going to change the title to show page title would be my profile. All right, and then edit page should also do the same thing. So we want to change this. Show page, edit page, create page. So all of these would use the same titles. New page. All right, profile. What just happened? What did I break? I know I broke something. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Let me comment these out one by one. Let's see which one broke which one. Okay. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, I'm kind of stupid like that. So this still says show page, and that's why we had a show page even though we're on the edit. So edit should now bring us here. We can update our user profile, and then here. All right. So there's still a problem. We can still create profiles, but we don't want people to view this list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my policy, and I'm going to say index is false, because I don't want anyone to view index. So now it's unauthorized, and there's no reason why we should come here, right? So it's either here or here. There is still one more thing. If we try to create new, it would bring us to new, which means that technically we could try to create, but let's try that and see what it does. If we do this, it fails because we have that unique constraint, right? So I'm gonna go back to user profile and improve this. So okay, this is fine. We're not going to validate that, because what we're going to do instead is, so now because there's a new page, we're going to disable new. So we go back to our user profile policy, and then what we are going to do is we're going to say we're going to say create, and then we're going to say edit, and then edit is true. And then here we're going to do, inside of every policy we get access to some variables. So here, let's see what the variables are. We have access to the record, which is whatever we want to, oh, this is record, self.record rather, which is the user profile. So the user profile class, because it's create, it doesn't tie to an individual record, it ties to the class. So it's asking you whether the person can create based on this. Then I think we have the current user, or it's user. Yes, so the user is how you get access to the current user. So for this, we're going to say if the user does not have a user profile. So this reads better. So if the user's user profile is blank, then we want them to be able to create. So in this case, if they try to create, it should fail with an unauthorized policy error. Derek, I know this is the same response I get from people whenever I show them Plutonium. Like, you just did nothing, and I'm like, yes, that's what I've been working on. It's not perfect. It's not everything I want it to be, but it gets me there. And you can build applications real fast. If I already had all my models and UI, would have been done a lot with this. But this is me showing you how the process. So now you cannot create new because you already have one. So all you can do now is you can come here, my profile, and edit. So what I don't want to do is I don't want people seeing when it was created at and when it was updated at. So let's go back to user profile policy. Where are you? User profile policy. Oh, we're already here. So for this, we're going to say that for read, we are not going to show these. Moreover, we don't even care about the user here, right? So that's all we're going to do. So full name, display name, time zone. I can leave it like this, or I can say that maybe I want to modify it a bit. So let's go back to our definition, and let's say display full name, and then I'm gonna apply on the wrapper. I'm gonna give it a class of column span full, and that should give it its own line. So we do the same thing for display name, and then time zone, and that gives us a little bit of something more beautiful. So the grid here that you have is just a grid, and you're able to apply the grid classes, but that's basically it. You don't have more flexibility unless you want to dig in. So this solves the dashboard. It gives us a profile, and it gives us a starting point. So I'm going to end the stream here because, again, I wasn't fully prepared with certain things. Tomorrow I'm going to work on a few things and then come back to us. Maybe tomorrow we will not stream, but possibly Wednesday. We would have a stream on Wednesday, and then that would allow us to add more things. So let's continue the conversation on social media, Twitter, and let's discuss what we want to see this platform be or become. Today I'm not going to end the stream abruptly. I'm going to stay a bit, and then if anyone wants to have a conversation, let's talk. Happy to answer any questions. In the meantime, I'm going to be committing this and then pushing this up to a public repo we can use. So yeah, let's go this way, and then let's see. Set up user profile, comment that, and then I'm gonna go to GitHub, create a new repo, and we're gonna call it, I already have like DevCongress jobs. I'm just gonna call it DevCongress. What did I do? Freak me. Now I need to go and make it public and all that. Oh, it's currently public. Awesome. All right, good. Oh, I think my personal projects are currently public. Thanks, Derek, for the applause. So here, there we go. All right, git push set upstream. That should be there, but there's something that I need to do. I need to drop this. Drop. Yes, drop. All right, and then I'm gonna run a bundle again just to make sure that the bundle is not broken, and then we're gonna go and push that force. All right, so we currently have the application up. You can go in and let me see if there's anything in the README. Let's add some README for. It plays nice with RSpec. I don't use RSpec. I'm a mini test guy, but I haven't worked on testing yet. This is one part that I have to invest in, as well as the testing tools around it. So I'm yet to even do testing on my end to even figure out how to write tests. But I'm not a fan of RSpec, so whatever I do, you should be able to use with RSpec, but I'm not going to be doing RSpec specific stuff. So README, all right, so yeah, that's where my $20 comes in. So Claude, give me a basic README for a Rails app on how to run it. It requires yarn and ES build and npm and Ruby version 3.35 and npm and Ruby 3.35. And what else do I need to worry about? What else I need to worry about? I think that should do it. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, no MVAS yet, so. Bruh. Bruh. Dude, I want it quite simple. You're not doing what I want. Size. So if you try to run it now, it might not work, mainly because of the issues I had with the Plutonium setup. So I need to figure out why it's not playing nicely. So yesterday I added attachment support, and wait, can I do that? Yarn build CSS. Well, apparently I can. So I need to figure out why that issue pertains, but that's all right. Install Java script dependencies, Rails, DB create, migrate, start development server, bin dev, application beyond the. All right, that's it. Update README and GP should do it. So that's it. It's amazing having everyone who was on this here, and I really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun week. By the end of this week, we're going to have a platform that we're going to work with, and we're going to see people start submitting. The goal is to have everyone register, and once we have the full force of the community behind us, my goal is that we can approach the institutions that we need to approach, and then use that to fight for the future of our own future. So yes, amazing work. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been great. Thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate that.